No, 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 bat box. All right, on this episode, we're going to make a couple of bat boxes. If you don't know what a bat box is, it's kind of like a birdhouse for bats. Pretty simple stuff. I had somebody contact me and ask me for some bat boxes. They've got, I guess, a couple of good trees and a lot of bats around their area. You might actually think that bats are bad. You don't want to be attracting them. A lot of times that's because you have bats in your attic. Bats are actually very good, especially if you want to sit outside during the day or at night, because bats eat a crap ton of mosquitoes. So they will go out and they will eat just a ton of bugs every single night. So if you attract them to your area and give them a place to stay, then they're going to go out and they're going to eat a whole bunch of mosquitoes, and there's going to be a lot less mosquitoes when you're out having a campfire. So we're going to make a bat box, and I'm actually going to make two. And never done this before, so I did some research and things like that. And so we'll show how I went through this, or how I'm going to go through this here. All right, so the first thing you need to do is get yourself a 4x8 sheet of plywood. You could maybe make it work out of a couple of 4x4 sheets of plywood, but you're going to want to save money and time in having to go get another one. Just get yourself a 4x8. You'll have a little bit extra. You can always use extra for something else down the road. So get yourself a 4x8 sheet of plywood. I went with 3/8 because there's no real need to have to go up to 1/2 inch. 3/8 is perfectly sound and structurally integritous for this job. I don't even think that's a word, but it is now. So 3/8, save yourself a little bit of money, 4x8 sheet. That way you can make it kind of whatever size you want. So I cut all my panels, decided based off of what I had read, I was going to go with almost 2 feet wide. They're going to be about 30 inches, but I cut them that wide and it looked kind of ridiculous. So the whole thing now is going to be about 16 inches wide from outside to outside. So that makes this just over a foot. Again, you can make them however big you want. Depends on what tree you are putting it on or where you're putting it. So kind of just judge whatever you want. Bats are actually pretty tiny, so they don't actually need a lot of room. All I did to cut these was mark it out. Get the old battery-powered skill saw there and cut them off. So I just marked my measurements all the way across. Cut straight lines. You can cut using a guide if you don't have the steadiest hand or you're not used to using a skill saw. You can use a table saw if you want. It's just a lot harder to put a 4x8 sheet through a table saw unless you've got someone here to help you, which very rarely do I have someone. So skill saw it is, semi-steady hand. Always wear your ear protection, and much like all my clothes and gear in general, my ear protection comes from a beer case. So these are going to be my inside panels, same width, but slightly shorter. I'll show you why in a minute. That's going to be my sides and my top. And to hang it, I've put this on the inside of the last piece, because now that's really the only way that you're ever going to actually be able to get to it. So you can hang it with these screws on a tree, and makes things a little bit easier. And the reason I left this back one longer is because you'll have a little bit of room down here if you want to screw in through the bottom also. So I'll show you a semi-assembled one here. You can see what I got going on. I got that back piece, and then I've got 1 inch square little rips, and then the pieces in between. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sides on here, and I'll be putting the top on also. So there you can see that the bottom is longer, that bottom sheet is longer than the rest of them. All right, we are at the end of the bat box saga. So I've just thrown a coat of paint on both of them. I'm actually kind of getting high off the spray paint fumes. Always spray paint in a poorly ventilated, closed room. Pro tip for the day. So I'll show you what I ended up finishing up with. So there's one bat box, and there is another bat box. kind of go down in here. So basically you've got a couple of different spaces for them to go up. Apparently them little guys like to nestle right up and in things. I went with black just because I figured they're not blind, but it's dark anyways when they're out and about, so why not go with black? Plus then during the day, it's not as obvious hanging off of a tree. So there's one over here. You'll notice this one's a little shinier because it's got the trim clad on it. And then I found spray paint Rust-Oleum, so I spray painted this one, trim clad, this one. Black's black. It is what it is. And there you have it. That's the end of her. A couple of bat boxes there for your batty friends. People think they're pests, but you give them a place to live outside of your house. They're not going to live in your attic. And like I said, they eat a crap ton of bugs, mosquitoes, that kind of thing. Every single night, they eat like 3 times their body weight. That's probably not true, but they eat a lot. So, pretty easy project. Lots of different ways that you can do it, but they all kind of end up looking the same. Lots of plans online, but you can just kind of make boxes with few rooms in it. And material-wise, depending on what you have yourself, if you're going to buy it all, probably in the neighborhood of $40. To rip it all down, cut it all, put it all together, you're not that long, so I'm going to call this maybe a 4-beer job, including painting. So certainly not a difficult one. It's just one of those things that if you're doing 2 of them, it takes a while. I think even one would probably still be a 4-beer job. Depends how fast you drink your beer.